Data gathered from countries across the world disclosed that 45 journalists were killed worldwide in 2023. According to the Humango, the press attack tracker updated by the Center for Journalism Innovation and Development, attack against journalists and media workers escalated to an unprecedented level as 74 press attacks were recorded last year in Nigeria. For a scourge that was more prevalent during the dark days of military regimes in Nigeria, bears the question what is fueling this recent upsurge and what possibly can go wrong if the Nigerian authorities refuse to apply the brakes and halt what is increasingly looking like an intensifying war against the fourth estate of the realm. Well, now we are being joined by Awal Musa Rafsanjani, Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, and Head of Transparency International's Nigeria office. It's good to have you on the morning show, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you. Welcome to the show. Now, there have been a lot of reports about infringement on freedom of information, infringement on the media, arrest against members of the media and journalists, and threats against members of the media. Now, I'd like to ask you, because earlier this year, the courts ordered the federal government to investigate all attacks against journalists and punish perpetrators of these attacks. Do you feel that our government is doing enough to protect the fourth realm?
Thank you very much. In Nigeria, especially in the last 1 year, sadly we have seen conscious effort to intensify attack against freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of media, and freedom of speech generally. And this is very sad, given the fact that we thought that under the new administration, they would have understand the negative consequences of this gross violent violation of the media. Because without the media support and civil society support, government will also find it very difficult to achieve its objectives. But if the government is now concentrating its effort and energy towards undermining the freedom of expression, ganging up against media, then that's really a sad development. We have seen, especially at the state level, indiscriminate attack on the bloggers, journalists, and media generally, as well as genuine civil society activists who are fighting for human rights and anti-corruption. So it is not really good to see that a court has given directive to investigate those people that are perpetuating this act, but nothing is being done to not only investigate but also to bring an end to this violation, and that is really putting this government in a very bad and negative record globally. And as a Nigerian, we are not happy to always see indices showing negative ranking for Nigeria. So therefore, the authorities must do everything possible to end this indiscriminate attack on the media, journalists, and civil society activists because of its negative consequences. Apart from violating their rights, the country record is also going down. And we don't like seeing our country showing negative in virtually every indices of development in this in the world. So that's why Amnesty International is very much worried and concerned with the continuation of attack by state actors. And I think it is absolutely necessary that the president call the attention of the security agencies to stop this, unnecessary demarketing of his authorities, his government. Because with what some of these security agencies are doing, they are actually demarketing, they are not promoting, they are not protecting President Tinubu, they are actually demarketing him because they are making him to be unpopular, to be somebody whose government promotes abuse of right. And I think it is absolutely necessary that he rise up to give directive to stop this, indiscriminate, human rights abuses that, is happening and, is shrinking in the civil space in Nigeria. It is absolutely necessary that our security agencies understand that the enemies of this country are not journalists, are not media, are not civil society activists. It is the criminal, the terrorists that have been terrorizing Nigerian people. Their energy should be concentrated in curbing and ensuring that that has been, stopped. Not attack on civil society, not attack on the media, not attack on the journalists, because these are supposed to be partners in progress. Not enemy. They are not state enemy. They just want to make sure that government does the right thing. They just want to make sure that they support government, to make sure that government do everything possible to block leakages, either, from outright, looting, stealing, corruption that we are seeing, to this, inhuman, human rights violation that happens virtually every day in our country. So therefore, we are calling on the president to take necessary action to ensure that authorities did not continue to abuse the right of journalists, right of Nigerian, activists. We have seen during the End Bad Governance protests, we have seen how, some overzealous security officials were killing and actually violating the right of those, peaceful protesters, So I think it is absolutely necessary that government takes necessary effort to restore its image by making sure that the rights of Nigerians are not, under attack. As it is now, it is really, a huge concern for us as citizens to see that, our country records in terms of human rights abuses is in the increase. And I believe that some of the, people in government who are concerned with the state of deterioration of human rights, they should come out and have a dialogue with even security agencies and other, maybe stakeholders, so that we can all collectively bring an end to this barbarism that is going on. There's no way you can gang up media and civil society and you think, you are a hero. You are just simply a lazy person because the people that you should target it at, you are not targeting them. Those are the terrorists, those are the people financing terrorism, those are the looters, those are the people that, authorities should target at, not the people that are actually helping government even propagate its own, genuine programs. So the media is not the enemy. The civil society, especially those, genuine civil society organizations working on human rights, anti-corruption, and good governance, those are they are not your enemy.
Definitely.
But we're attacking them. We're always abusing them and discriminating against them, verbal assault, physical assault, and all trumping up charges against journalists, simply for covering, and doing their work. And I think we need to have a rethink. Democracy is not a lesson to be attacking media. There's nowhere where democracy can flourish when your own primary objective is to suppress and repress the media and press freedom. That cannot work. In fact, it will only spoil your case. So government of Tinubu should do something.
Yes, I mean, you are already segueing to what was going to be my next question to you. Because when we look at the recent arrest of Adejuwon Soyinka by the DSS, it has drawn comparisons to the suppression of the press during Nigeria's military regimes. Are you concerned, how concerned are you that you might be witnessing a resurgence of tactics used to stifle press freedom? And for us to really go into what this means for Nigeria's democracy. And then on the second hand, Nigeria's constitution guarantees freedom of press, yet incidents like Soyinka's arrest suggest that those protections are being undermined. Are there any legal safeguards that can be strengthened or introduced to better protect journalists from arbitrary detention and harassment?
So to be honest to you, substantial years of military dictatorship. I was a very active activist that joined senior activists in the country way back, in the late 80s. I began in 1989, and by the 90s, we were the foot soldiers that were actually working to ensure, termination of military dictatorship in Nigeria, and we continue to face, the military regime at that time with the senior comrades, senior activists that are actually pushing for restoration of democracy and responsible governance. What we can testify now is that those attacks on the media and civil society activists at the time during the military regime, it has actually already surfaced now. We have seen this indiscriminate arrest, attack, at the state level and even at the national level. The one at the national level, you can easily notice it because people can easily notice it. But the one at the state is even the most terrible one. Some disappearances of bloggers, activists have been recorded, So you can see that during the military regime, they were doing that. But let me tell you, that made civil society and the media to be more resilient, to more actually determined to ensure that they do the right thing based on the constitutional provision that the Constitution has guaranteed them and different international protocols and conventions. So for the democratic leaders, or rather for leaders that find themselves under democracy in Nigeria, to be applying what even the military were doing, I think is a huge concern that must not be tolerated, because people give their life and their comfort for this democracy to come. There's no way some people can hijack it and misapply it and be torturing people who just say, let's us do the right thing. There's nothing that is bad in the media saying that we should do things right. We should expose those devious. In fact, part of the responsibility of the media is to expose corruption, is to expose bad governance, so that government can actually take necessary steps. So if you look at it, there's a nexus. There's supposed to be a link between the work of the media and what responsible government should do. Because if the media is able to expose corruption and draw that to the attention of the government should have taken action to ensure that those who are violating either right or that are looting or that are doing criminal thing, they are actually investigated and punished. But it is the other way around. When the media do their work, then they become victims. When the civil society activists demand for good governance, then they become victims. We cannot continue that way. The military regime, despite their fascism and brutality, Nigerian civil society and media faced them and still insisted on demanding for restoration of democracy and human rights protection. You know what late Gani has done? So many activists, Chima Ubani, Emma Zazu, even Professor Ajega, all these are activists that all work collectively to restore democracy in Nigeria. Now you say people should not have the right to even assemble, to discuss based on the concern that they have. So if you don't want them to come and discuss and assemble, why do you don't want them to have conversation when the Constitution clearly gave them the right? Journalists will go and be reporting coverage of either election or covering peaceful protests. Some overzealous security people will break down their cameras and arrest them and beat them. This is not good for our country. At least let us begin to respect that this country, we are no longer in a jungle space. We are in a civilized space, and we should do things according to normalized and civilized way based on the law that we have in our country. I think there's need for us, for our security agencies, to begin to understand the value of respecting the right of journalists, the media, and also the civil society, because attacking them is actually making them to look bad. And if they don't know, there are already efforts all over the world to list those people that are spearheading violation of the right of the citizens in their country. So those police or those security agencies officers that are brutalizing Nigerians, they should know that there's a consequences. If you have a right government, they will not tolerate that because they are demarcating them. And I want to commend the National Human Rights Commission. The National Human Rights Commission is doing its best, but I want to also call on those progressive, leaders within the government, both at the state and the national level, to have a rethink, to begin to save their image, because their image is deteriorating, globally, and we are just being laughed at because of the way and manner in which we are attacking freedom of expression, the way we are attacking, media space, the way we are attacking civil society who are demanding for good governance. Why are you arresting Nigerians for demanding for good governance? If you have found any criminal among the people, isolate them. Now you have bundled over 1,000 people, and you continue to get arbitrary, or rather, one pony, injunction to continue to keep them. So
Yes,
are you
sir.
justifying the huge amount of money you have spent on the protest, or are you just trying to continue to feed the people and inflate the figure? These are all
Sorry,
parts
sir,
of the reason that we
I
cannot
just
understand maybe
Yes.
what...
Can I just butt in here, sir? Thank you very much. Now,
Okay.
you've spoken about the arrest of journalists, bloggers, and activists. One such activist is Abdul Ghani Olusegun, who was arrested after he shared information on WhatsApp detailing alleged budgetary allocations received by Lagos mainland local government. You've also highlighted that there's a difference between the federal government and on the state level, and that we're seeing these infringements on press freedom on both levels. You're even saying that the local and state levels are even worse than the federal government. However, on the other side, we have been hearing
Yes.
from the government that people are defaming others online, that they are sharing state secrets, that there is cyber stalking or cyber bullying, there's misinformation being spread. And although that people have the constitutional right to freedom of expression and constitutional right to freedom of the press, there is also a limitation of that right, in that you do not have a right to defame others or to bully others. Do you believe that by mixing bloggers into the same basket as journalists, that we're making it more dangerous for journalism and freedom of the press in Nigeria? And do you believe that the government is right to use this defense, in that freedom of speech and of press is limited to protect state secrets?
If government want to be honest and sincere, knows that genuine journalists cannot be the same as anybody who will go and be writing political, statement to maybe undermine a particular politician. I think, what the government succeeded in doing is confusing itself. The journalists are guided by ethics, and I can assure you that, conventional media journalists, they are professional and they are guided by ethics. But even those professionals, they are under severe attack when they expose corruption. I think the bottom line is that some people in government, they think that they have access to security, so they can just instruct police to go and attack anybody who writes anything, whether there's a truth in it, whether it is a fabrication. I think we need to differentiate, those people who are out there maybe trying to score, issue with one another, but the media, the journalists, cannot be equated with those people who probably have personal grudges with one another. But what we are concerned is the institution of the media and press freedom. We are worried that, journalists who are doing their lawful work are under attack. For example, all these cases, like now, he has been able to expose the corruption in budgetary allocation, duplication, and waste, and completely stealing public funds. Now, you carry police to go and arrest him simply because you think he owns the police. I want to call on the IG. Please, IG, help to restore the dignity, and integrity of the Nigerian police. Why should some few individual be calling on police in every issue to go and arrest somebody? You have a dispute, you have a disagreement with somebody, then the person, because he has, means and way to go and get police, he will bring in police and they will be attacking and brutalizing the person without investigating, without hearing from his side. I think, IG, I am calling you, please, do everything possible. I know you are a professional. Do everything possible to actually restore the integrity and the dignity of Nigerian police. We cannot have our Nigerian police being seen as only agents of human rights abuses. No, the police is an institution that is supposed to be independent, that is supposed to be, fair to everybody. Not because you are a governor or you are a political, leader in a state or at a national level, you just instruct police to go and do what they are doing. Don't use police to disrupt peace. Don't use police to undermine the right of Nigerians. It is very sad to see that police officers are escorting Yahoo to clubs. Everybody is seeing. Why should we allow our police to be used by Yahoo and other characters, for their own personal thing? Anybody who wants to carry police, you should go and hire private security. Why are we disgracing our own policemen? If they are not carrying a bag of somebody, they are carrying a luggage of somebody. We cannot reduce our Nigerian police to that kind of inhuman, dignity. Please, IG, do everything possible to ensure that we sanitize policing in this country. And police should not be enemy of Nigerian people. As it is now, Nigerian police, a lot of them are being killed by criminals, and there's no sympathy. Why should we allow that to happen? We should sympathize with our Nigerian police when they are unfairly attacked. But you see, because of this bad relationship between police and the Nigerian people, it appears to me that Nigerians are not even sympathizing with the police. Meanwhile, many of them are decent, they are doing their good work, but because of the way and manner in which some bad police officers are, making police to look as if it is just only agent for some people who have means, who have money to hire them and attack Nigerians. There are so many people. A governor will just wake up and instruct commissioner of police to go and arrest somebody who has written, like this case of Lagos, exposing corruption or exposing, deviousness in the election, or one corruption that, somebody, has, genuine information to expose. We need to stop that. That is not policing, and that is not going to take us anywhere. We need to restore the institutional dignity. I mean, there are a lot of, policing going on, trumping of charges on terrorism, cyber crime, when these are the criminals there that are terrorizing, even coming out on TikTok, on Facebook, saying that they are there and nobody is going to go after them. I think we need to begin to change the way and manner in which our police is doing. It's not about regime protection. It is protecting the Nigerian people, protecting the constitution of Nigeria. Not just because somebody is a local government chairman or is a member of the National Assembly or State Assembly or is a governor or is a president, he will just order you and then be undermining your own personal integrity. Tomorrow, when he goes out or when you leave service, they will come and arrest you. Because remember, people should understand, even after you retire, even after you leave service, if you have committed, gross violence violation against Nigerian people, you can still be actually investigated and arrested, and you can face the music. At that time, the person that you are doing circumstancy for him to see will not, be there. You will only be the one to be suffering. So why do you want to undermine your own career and your own personal integrity? I'm calling on the police and the security generally. Please let us change as a responsible nation, as a responsible people. Let us change the way and approaches we apply to suppress and repress freedom of expression and freedom of speech in this country. We need to be responsible institutions and personnel. Even the Nigerian people, all of us, we have to be guided by ethics, based on the law. So if somebody has committed any, offense, let him be investigated and let there be fair trial. But to bundle people, detain them, arbitrary arrest, not even no warrant, You just bundle
Mr.
everybody,
Rafsanjani.
punish them, brutalize them. I don't think it is good.
Yes, Mr. Rafsanjani, I mean, you have highlighted a few very salient points. However, I want us, as we start to wrap up, just quickly touch on the role that the judiciary plays, if they can play a more active role in safeguarding the press freedom and protecting journalists from unwarranted arrest. I mean, we just saw the swearing in of the Chief Justice Kekere Ekun just this past week. If that is something that the judiciary should look into, I had asked earlier because the Constitution guarantees the freedom of the press, but these incidents of arrests suggest that these protections are being undermined. So if we look at the legal safeguards that are already in place, what role or how active a role should the judiciary take in it, very briefly, as we start to wrap up?
Yeah, so judiciary has a very important role to play in order to minimize this arbitrary, arrest and detention of the Nigerian people. And I think, we can see that so many judges that are out there maybe giving some kind of judgment that are not in tandem with human rights protection and promotion. I think, what we are advocating is that, let judges, let the judiciary actually do justice to its work. We don't want to this because you don't have money, so you cannot do justice to anybody. Nigerians are not able to go to court now because they know that if you don't have money, you cannot get justice. We need to change. We need to change this, and we have to have, rethink. And I'm calling on the new Chief Justice of the Federation to please, those bad judges who are giving perpetual injunction on corrupt people that they should not even be, asked to explain what they have looted. Please, such judges, please, I beg you, Chief Justice, remove them from our judiciary, institution, because they are creating bad image and they are actually humiliating judiciary in Nigeria. The same thing goes to the police. So because simply because you don't have money, you can no longer have access to justice. That is what is playing on in this country. And you can rig an election and you will say, okay, I have judiciary. So what politicians are now doing is that they are not even bothered to even mobilize on popular vote. What they do, they mobilize money so that both the INEC, the police and some judges, they will just have enough money allegedly to settle them, and then they will declare them winners. This is the new thinking of the new bad politician in Nigeria, and judiciary must not be used for such kind of sin. Judiciary should not be used by state governors, by the presidency, to just be arresting or detaining people. There are so many people without trial simply because they express their own opinion on certain things, or they disagree on certain issue. As long as you have not have any established criminal record, please respect the right of the people who have expressed their contrary view or opinion, because this is democracy. And unless you don't want to practice democracy, because even under military regime, Nigerian civil society activists were actually expressing their mind. Journalists were actually doing their work. So there's nothing that you can do to stop journalists and civil society from expressing their mind.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Rafsanjani. Thank you so much for joining us today and for your insights this morning. We're very grateful.